Imagine shelling out $328,000 for 25 years of housework. Yes, you heard that right. In a case that's causing quite a stir, a Spanish businessman was ordered by the court to pay his ex-wife this whopping sum for the chores she did during their quarter-of-a-century-long marriage. Picture this, folks. The husband, through sweat and toil, built a thriving gym business, amassing assets worth a cool $4 million. Meanwhile, the wife claims she was left in the financial cold, excluded from his wealth, and left with zilch after their divorce. She argues that she sacrificed her own career to raise their children and support her husband's professional ascent, a claim that's not uncommon in many households. The court, in an interesting turn of events, ruled that the wife's contributions to household chores and the family business were deserving of compensation. But here's the kicker. The lump sum payment isn't the end of the story. The ex-husband was also ordered to pay a monthly pension to the wife and monthly payments to their daughters. It's like hitting the jackpot, isn't it? Now, the ex-husband is expected to appeal the ruling, and who can blame him? It's a substantial amount of money, and the verdict brings forth a whole new perspective on the value of housework and the role of a stay-at-home spouse. But wait, there's more to this story. Let's dive deeper. Now, some would argue that she deserved every penny. Let's flip the coin and look at this from a different perspective. Imagine a woman, a wife, who dedicated 25 years of her life to the care and nurture of her family. She chose to set aside her own career aspirations, instead focusing on ensuring a stable and nurturing environment for her children. This woman was not merely a homemaker, but a silent partner in her husband's business. While he was out building his empire, she was at home, managing the household, raising the kids, and providing the essential emotional support that allowed him to focus on his professional pursuits. Now imagine that after a quarter of a century of sacrifice and dedication, she finds herself excluded from the fruits of her husband's success. Left with nothing, she has to start from scratch in an economy that doesn't value her years of unpaid work. Sure, she wasn't the one making the big deals or signing the paychecks, but she was the backbone of the household, the unsung hero whose efforts often go unnoticed and unappreciated. The court recognized this and ruled that her contributions to the household and the family business were substantial enough to warrant compensation. In addition to a lump sum payment, the court ordered a monthly pension for her and monthly payments to their daughters. It's not about greed or taking advantage. It's about acknowledging the value of her work, the sacrifices she made, and the years she devoted to her family. Sounds fair, right? Or does it? Let's continue to dig deeper in the next scene. Scene script. Let's flip the coin again, shall we? Imagine for a moment, you're a man who's poured his blood, sweat, and tears into building a successful business. You've provided for your family for a quarter of a century, offering protection, security, and ensuring that bills around the house are paid. You've done all this while your wife chose, and yes, it was a choice, to be a stay-at-home wife. Now don't get me wrong. Being a stay-at-home spouse, man or woman, is no cakewalk. It's a full-time job without weekends or holidays. But let's not forget, it was a position willingly accepted. She wasn't forced into it. She wasn't denied opportunities. It was a decision made presumably by two consenting adults about the division of labor in their household. Fast forward to the end of a 25-year marriage. The divorce proceedings are underway and the settlement is being hashed out. And then, the shocker. The court orders you, the man who's been the breadwinner for all these years, to pay your ex-wife an additional $328,000 for her housework. Yes, you heard that right, over and above the divorce settlement. Consider this for a moment. If we flip the scenario, and it was the husband who stayed at home while the wife was the sole earner, would the court rule the same way? Would the stay-at-home husband be compensated for his years of housework and childcare? It's an interesting question, isn't it? Now, the ex-wife claims she was deprived of having a career, but again, let's remember she made the choice to be a stay-at-home wife. She could have pursued a career if she wanted to, but she chose not to. And now, she's walking away with a hefty sum of money, not for loss of career, but for the housework she did in a role she chose. Now that's a twist, isn't it? But let's step back for a moment. What does this case say about our society? Well, it throws a glaring light on the often overlooked value of domestic work. It's easy to dismiss housework as trivial, but when you consider the sheer hours poured into it over a quarter of a century, it becomes a different story. It's not just about cleaning or cooking. It's about raising children, managing household, and providing a supportive environment for a spouse's professional growth. It's a full-time job, with overtime but without weekends, without paid leave, and without any formal recognition or compensation. So when we scoff at the court's decision, are we scoffing at the idea that housework has value, or are we scoffing at the idea that a stay-at-home spouse should be compensated for their contribution? Moreover, this case brings the societal expectations of gender roles into sharp focus. Would we have the same reaction if the roles were reversed? If a woman had to compensate her stay-at-home husband for his domestic work? This case forces us to confront our biases and reconsider our views on gender roles and the division of labor within a household. But perhaps the most significant implication of this verdict is its potential impact on future divorce settlements. If domestic work is now being recognized as a significant contribution to a household, could this set a precedent for future divorce cases? Could this shift the way courts approach the division of assets and the awarding of alimony? So is this really about housework, or is it something else entirely? Perhaps it's about recognition, about giving value to the unseen and unpaid labor that goes into maintaining a household. Or maybe it's about challenging our preconceived notions of what constitutes work and what doesn't. But whatever it is, one thing's for certain. This case has opened up a conversation that's long overdue, and maybe, just maybe, it's the start of a shift towards a more equitable understanding of work, value, and compensation. To sum it all up, we've taken a deep dive into a court ruling that's got the world talking. A man who spent 25 years building a successful gym business is ordered to pay his ex-wife a whopping $328,000 for the housework she did during their marriage. We've explored the other side of the coin, where the wife claimed she sacrificed her career to support her husband's professional growth and raise their children. But let's not forget that this was a choice she made. A choice to be a stay-at-home wife, a choice to contribute to the family in a different, yet equally important way. We've looked at the perceived unfairness of this decision. The man provided for his family, gave protection, and covered all the expenses. He was the breadwinner, and yet he's being asked to pay an additional sum on top of the divorce settlement. We've also considered the larger picture, the ripple effects this ruling could have on other cases, and the precedent it sets. It raises questions about the value of housework, the division of labor in a household, and the financial implications surrounding these issues. And now, we circle back to the burning question. Is $328,000 a fair price for 25 years of housework? It's a question that stirred debate and will continue to do so. It's a question that challenges societal norms and forces us to reevaluate our perceptions of work and value. So is $328,000 a fair price for 25 years of housework? You be the judge. That's it for today's deep dive. We've explored a case that has sparked a global conversation, and we hope we've given you some food for thought. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to smash that like button. It really helps us out and allows us to keep bringing you content like this. Also, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and turn on bell notifications so you never miss an update from us. We're constantly covering fascinating stories and challenging concepts, and we'd love for you to join us on this journey. And remember, if you know someone who'd enjoy this, don't hesitate to share this video. Let's get this conversation going and see what others think. Thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you in the next one.